So what's up, guys? What is growing on? This video is going to be about peanuts as a cover crop, and also kind of talking about the difference between perennial peanut and the regular peanut. I've had a ton of questions about it, a lot of people not understanding the difference. And just so you know, what Jim has planted is an annual. What we usually use in our typical landscape installations is a perennial. The big difference is the annuals need to be replanted every year. The perennials are going to be here forever, especially when we're talking about something like the perennial peanut. You know, this is rhizomal. These grow underneath the ground and they tend to spread that way. Actually, when you plant these for about the first 6 months to a year, a lot of that work, a lot of that growth they're putting on is actually going to be under the surface. Putting those roots, spreading themselves, creating those nodules, and then you'll notice the top starts to fill in really nicely. Both of these are nitrogen fixing, the annual or the perennial. Both have edible flowers. One thing that I could tell you is that the annual one to get to be about a foot and a half, almost as you can see to the top of Jim's wall over here, where the perennial one, we have varieties like this one. This is called Chico. This is a new patented released variety. We've only been doing it for about a year now. It grows as a really tight ground cover. So this is a sustainable lawn alternative. They're using this in the medians all over, areas here in Florida, Pinellas County, Pasco County, Hillsborough County. I know this time of year, if I drive down through Largo, St. Pete, sometimes those medians will be pure orange or pure yellow, depending on the variety of perennial peanut. And the worst part is, they maintain it like they're maintaining grass. So they're overcutting it. So they get that one weed head in there, like Jim's had in a couple spots on his yard, and they come across it with the mower. They're spreading that weed. They're making that problem, much worse, where if they were to just come through there, pull those couple of weeds out, let it get a little taller, maybe manage it every 2.5, 3 months, something like that, no more than 4 times a year, and not cutting it like grass on a weekly basis. That's the whole point of being the sustainable lawn alternative. So I've seen a lot of these city municipality reports come out about the perennial peanut, why it's so much, greener and better, but you're maintaining it like grass. You have to maintain it more like a perennial base. So, but I am just super impressed with the way these peanuts filled in. Almost no weeds through here. Right there, I noticed the sweet potato came over. And it is just making an awesome ground cover here. So this is the annual variety. I think Jim just went and bought raw, unsalted, uncooked peanuts from Publix and planted them. Like, talk about how easy that is. So, oh yeah, I see the Chico on the pot. We grow the Flora Grays, the EcoTurf, and the Chico. My two favorites are probably the Chico and the EcoTurf. The Flora Grays does tend to do a little bit better in a little bit of a dappled light shade, and this also gets the flowers. Like I said, here's one of those little yellow flowers, and these are edible. They go nice on a garnish, on a plate. You can put them in a salad. Not much flavor to them, but they are edible. Obviously nothing gets sprayed here, so I'm not worried about picking something or washing it. Meeting it right off the ground, no big deal. Even though we are within 25-30 feet of the road, not really too worried about it. So perennial peanut, annual peanut. That flower actually had a little bit of a peanut flavor. I've never ever noticed that before with the other perennial peanut. So I thought that was interesting. Getting a little bit of nutsedge in here, getting some Bermuda crawling in. The sweet potato vines starting to come over the wall. But for the most part, these peanuts have done really, really well. I think I'll even try these in a couple places at my own place next year. And just kind of coming up in here, you'll see the peanut again in this bed by the house, and it's filled out so nicely. So I am super impressed with these annual peanuts. I mean, look at this bed. Oh. And here's another bed of the peanut, and that one just has some roselle popping out of it. Oh, that is the first of that I've seen here. So Jim has been pretty successful with completely eliminating torpedo grass from the main garden. Right here I see it popping up in a few spots, and I'm sure when he gets back he's going to persistently work to get those roots out of there. I am noticing the leaves on the regular peanut are just slightly larger, not quite as small and skinny as the perennial peanut variety. So all right, guys, so a lot of these perennial peanuts, these nitrogen fixing cover crops, nitrogen fixing ground covers, nitrogen fixing trees, they have a symbiotic relationship with soil-borne bacteria, so they can take the air we breathe and literally turn it into fertilizer in the soil. Now, some of that is lost during the flowering and the seeding stage. So ideally, before this flowers heavily, we're coming through and we're cutting it back. With an annual, like the regular peanut, you probably aren't going to cut it back. But with the perennial peanut, that's where that every 2.5 month cut, running it over with the mower, running it over with the weed eater, just kind of hitting the top, it's going to stimulate the roots and get it to let out some of that nitrogen through the nodules. That's how we kind of get it to expel. I don't know how much it's actually doing naturally, but I know by not letting it go to flower and seed and actually cutting it like that, we can get it to release through the nodules. So I think this is an awesome option for, a sustainable lawn alternative. Like I said, city municipalities using it. There's so many different options for the peanut. Right out here we have Bahia grass, which is, not native, but super drought tolerant, super tough. If you aren't going to grow these alternate ground covers like the sunshine mimosa, the perennial peanut, and you have to have some grass for the kid, I think this is a great option. Bahia grows really fast here. It can take the drought here. It doesn't need any chemicals, doesn't get any bug pressure, kind of just thrives on neglect. And that's what we're looking for in plants that are easy to grow, plants that thrive on neglect, plants that don't need a lot of love and attention. Like if we don't get any rain down here, sometimes from the beginning of March all the way to the beginning of summer, so we're talking about 90 days, things fry up. I actually lost some established fruit trees this year in the drought. Blew my mind. The Bahia, I don't care how brown it gets, it could look like you'll set a flamethrower to it. It's going to come back as soon as you get the first rain. So tough crops like this are what we're looking for, that we're trying to use, that want to grow here, that thrive on neglect. So perennial peanut, annual peanuts, I think they're pretty cool. We could probably grow either one of those. Check them out. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. This is going to be a quick one for you. Most importantly, get out there and pound peanuts.